Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
For all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Right, Chris. All right there. All right the back. How are you all? How the devil are you? Ho, ho, ho. Or boo, hoo, hoo after that result. Hope you all had a good Christmas. I hope you got what you want. Ladies, I hope Santa filled your stockings. And fellas, I hope Santa helped you empty your sacks. And we're back. That's it. All that, 2 days, it's over. Did you go out? Were you allowed out? Well, whatever happened, whoever you were with, I hope you had a good time. We said there'd be 9 goals, didn't we? We thought it'd be 9-0 to them, though. What a game. I mean, from a neutral's point of view, it was an amazing game. You know, it's the first Premier League game ever on Boxing Day to feature 9 goals. And if you were sat there and you were a Norwich fan or a Villa fan, you'd have loved it. It was a great game. I'm not neutral and I hated the bloody.
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform. Or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Yeah, if you're watching us, that's where you can see us, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. If it's on YouTube, or if you're on your YouTube, or if you're not, get over to Leicester Till I Die TV, and please give us a subscribe and click that thumbs up button. It means an awful lot to the channel. And, of course, if you want to listen to us, can't listen to us live, but if you want to catch up with us and you're listening to us via the podcast, 14,500 plays in 13 months. Guys, it's amazing. It shows one thing: you obviously prefer to listen to me than look at me. Yeah, I've got to look at myself every day, so I totally understand where you're coming from. A few comments here. Michael or David Gamble, how you doing? He's in there straight away. He's not got a clue. Sorry, Brad. Casper got to go. He doesn't control his 6 foot area. Sorry, must take armband off him before we end up with it in the championship. You can blame him for 2 of the goals. You can't blame him for the penalties, and I think he made a couple of good saves there. Let's just have a look here. Hodges, why does Rodgers need to go? We're 10th with half our squad injured. That is an excellent point, and one we'll be coming on to. Hodges, Munsey, Rodgers needs to go. You're a Man United fan, Munsey. Of course you would. Do you still want him? You wanted him before. Still, hey, you got somebody at the wheel for how? Let's just have a look at this. Actually, Man United, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and you're having to take a caretaker manager on. They should be walking over broken glass with bare feet to get to you, and you've got I can see the Man City fans in the background applauding. But you shouldn't be looking at having caretaker managers. That is how low, guys, Man United have dropped. You don't want him? Yeah, you did when you had Solskjaer, mate. Hey, It's all banter. Welcome along. David, good evening. So how the devil are you? I'm angry after that game. Angry. I've been a few different things. We fought hard. We had many chances despite all our injuries versus an opponent that had no missing players. Don't know about that. We'll talk to him about that in a second. Please, injuries is the only reason our defence sucks. And Munsey says, don't change the subject. We're talking about your club. You came in, mate. You came in. You know, I mean, Ollie was at the wheel and doing a great job, and then had a huge, great collision, didn't he? This is Leicester Till I Die. It is the Opposition View show. It was Manchester 3. No, it wasn't. It was Manchester City 6, Leicester City 3. That was wishful thinking. And it is the Opposition View show.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event of the evening. 60 minutes of football fun and banter with Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV. Are you ready? Let's get ready to rumble.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for hanging on there. I'm being very brave here. I'm going up against two Manchester City fans. I'm just taking my life in my hands here. First of all, in the top right, we'll say hello to Charlie. How the devil are you, sir?
I'm not bad, mate. How are you?
Well, not as happy as you are, I am sure. Give your channels a shout out. Where can people find you?
At MCFC Hibs on Twitter and Dugout Daily on YouTube. To be honest, Chris, I'm surprised you've managed to find two different City fans. There's not that many in the earth, is there?
I never said that. You just got that in so I couldn't insult you with it, could you? But,
yeah.
I believe you both went to the Empty Had at the weekend. Well, welcome for the first time to the channel. Charles Stroke Bernard. I'll probably end up calling him both during the show. Deneen, anyway, welcome along, mate. And where can people find you?
Yeah, well, if you follow me on Twitter at Charles Deneen, I do have a Citizen channel, which is everything Manchester City, do history stuff as well. I've had a couple of Leicester things on, Leicester City, Man City things on. So if you follow me on Twitter, all the links to my YouTube channels are on there. So if you follow me at Charles Deneen on Twitter, I'll just have a look on there.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, you're both welcome, he says through gritted teeth. Mumsy, I will come back on your channel soon, I promise you. But you have your shows at the same time as mine. What can I say? 9 goals. I mean, as Monty Python, and you won't know this, Charlie, but Charles might. As Monty Python used to say, you don't expect the Spanish Inquisition. I mean, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting probably a 9-0. But Charlie, you know, I mean, looking at the way you performed, in fairness, when we lost to Liverpool midweek, I was slightly annoyed. I think I upset a few Liverpool fans on my post-match show. But you deserve. I mean, you were literally, when you were going forward, you're another class.
Yeah. First 25 minutes, 4-0. It couldn't get much better. But then first 20 minutes of the second half was poor, to be honest, defensively.
It was. And in Charles, there's that joke about, if you leave early, you miss it. That was almost one of those games, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's unusual for City, but we saw it in the first half as well. Defensively, we weren't at it. I think one of the guys mentioned before we didn't have anyone missing. We had probably two of our most crucial defenders missing who've sort of been a big part of our season. That's Walker, obviously, for reasons we can't really go into at the moment. And obviously, Rodri, who obviously picked up an injury. And Rodri's been key to sort of protecting our defence. And I think this is where we've certainly missed it. Fernandinho's a great player, but I think he's showing his age a little bit now. And I think Leicester fully took advantage of that. And they could have had 2 or 3 good chances. They had 2 or 3 good chances in that first half as well, where they got through the defence. Obviously, just poor finishing, a couple of half chances, a good save by Ederson. So, it was comfortable. It was nice and comfortable. But obviously, the second half, it came back to bite us on the bum, the fact that we weren't quite as tight as protecting our defence as we should be.
Indeed. Andrew says here, we're saving ourselves for Liverpool. And to the gentleman who actually took the effort, after listening to my post-match Liverpool podcast, took the effort to find my website, to email me, to tell me that he wanted to object vehemently to my hatred of Liverpool. Your players broke Pierre's leg. So it wasn't just a gentle tackle. That's up there with the Villarreal one in the friendly before. So, yes, your players, as well as elbowing in the face, you broke one of our players' legs. So, yes, you are dirty bastards, as they say. And it would be great to get one back over Liverpool. I mean, in that first half, Charlie, getting back to the game we're talking about, as Charles said there, you were dominant, but on that break, we were unlucky not to get a few.
Yeah, Edison made a few crucial saves. The free kick from Maddison, great save onto the bar in the first half. Got very unlucky with the third goal. It was a good save. It just fell straight to Iheanacho to tap it into an empty net as well. So our keeper really was saving us in that second half. It could have been 4 or 5. Maybe he could have got on level terms, because after Laporte scored for us, I think, was it Albrighton who had a header, put it wide. That was a very big chance as well to make it 5-4. So even when we scored the 5th goal, I was still worried Leicester could come back into the game, to be honest.
I mean, Charles, you were 4-0 up at half-time. Was it a case that, yes, and I want to look at this game and think, like, because literally, I don't know how our games are still going ahead, because we've got players on the bench that obviously aren't fit enough to come on. Because if he was half fit enough, Vardy would have been on at some point in that game. Especially, he likes a goal against Man City, a new play to his strength. So they obviously weren't fully fit. We've been ravaged by COVID. So I was proud of the guys when we came back. But was it the fact that we did play really well and had a go at you, or had you just take 4-0 up at half time? Did you just take your foot off the accelerator, as they say?
Well, I think the thing is with City, we usually control them sort of games. Even if we were only 2-0 up, we sort of do control, and we just lack that control totally. And I think Brendan Rodgers got them back in the changing rooms at half time. And then I jokingly said to my lad, I said, all Brendan will say to him, look, just treat this as 0-0. We've had some chances. Let's just play again. Keep tight at the back. Let's keep them out. Let's not concede a 5th goal. Let's try and get one, and we'll go from there. And I sort of said it to my lad just jokingly, and I think that's all they did. And I think as soon as they saw how easy they could cut through us. I mean, it was like a knife through butter. A hot knife through butter. It was so simple. And this was like the old. This was a City of 2 or 3 years ago, where we used to get hit on these counter attacks all the time, and we've not seen that for a long, long time. And all credit to the Leicester guys up front. They didn't mess about with it. They just got it up where it mattered. And our defending was awful. I've never seen Laporte and Diaz look so lost at times. It was a little bit worrying. I'm sure it's just one of those games. But as you said there, at 4-0 up, there was probably. I'm sure Pep didn't say to them, take it easy, lads. I'm sure he said keep it. 4-0, it's all right. But I think psychologically they struggled, and as soon as that first one went in, I think you got your 3 goals within 10 minutes. And I think, as Charlie said there, at 2-0 Edison saved us, and at 5-3 there was a bad miss from you, and Edison saved us again with a cracking save at a block as well at 5-3. So it could have gone. It looked all right in the end, didn't it? 6-3, but you look at the stats as well. I mean, obviously we do that on Charlie's show, but the stats were fairly even over the game. It's just that obviously we managed to get a couple of penalties. Quite rightly, I don't think there's anything wrong with the penalties. I think they were pretty legitimate penalties from what I've seen. So that's just how it is. And I think it was similar to what when you beat us 5-2, wasn't it? You got a couple of penalties on that day. And again,
I was going to say, you're not going to get me moaning about penalties.
Yeah. So, there you go. So
I think we got 3 in that game, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely deserved to win that thoroughly. I don't think we, even though probably the stats were quite similar, but you took your chances, and it was totally opposite yesterday. And it was a bit unlike City, a bit of a weird game from City defensively. We'll have to sort that out. But all credit to Leicester. I thought you were excellent, considering, as you said, the injuries, etc. You played very, very well yesterday.
Yeah, thank you. And Charlie, Charles and Charlie, I'm going to get well confused here. It's like I've got four kids. I've got Heather and Hannah as daughters. I can never get their names right, and Sean and Simon.
Well, that's your fault. You named them.
Isn't it? Really, it's so weird. So Charles and Charlie. It sounds like a double act, doesn't it? Looking at that, I mean, to be honest with you, you had 17 shots, of which 53 were on target. We had 14, on which 57 were on. Percent was on target. That surprised me when I looked at it afterwards, because you were so dominant. And if you look at the ball possession there, I mean that's scary. But I think we proved in the season when we won the Premier League, you don't need to have the possession to win. To win games. But certainly this scares me when you look at the passes. We had 289. You had 736. And we had 438 touches to your 894. That's the scary thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, we know what Leicester. We know exactly how Leicester play, and this is what was strange. And we saw it. I mean, we saw it in the first half. Obviously, the counter attack didn't really come to anything. But I think someone put a stat up that we hadn't in was it for Charlie, where we hadn't conceded from a counter attack for umpteen games, and all of a sudden we conceded goal after goal. But we know what Leicester are about. That's how Leicester play the game. It's not new. It's not a new tactic from Mr. Rodgers. So that's what disappointed me a little bit in the second half, that we didn't sort of allow for that and arrange our team accordingly. At 4-0 up, we should have been able to start taking players off and bringing other players on. And he couldn't do that because obviously within 15-20 minutes it was down to 1 goal margin. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed with that aspect of it.
And Charlie, Andrew says here, the scary thing is you don't even have a recognised striker. I mean, God's sake, if you bought a striker, then we might as well just all pack up and go home, mustn't we?
Yeah. Imagine someone like Haaland in our team with all the chances we create. To be honest, I don't think there's a team in world football that would beat us.
No, personally. To be honest, no. I mean, there's all the Kane rumours at the start of the season. I doubt he's going to come to you now, but you don't need him, do you?
Not at the moment, with the amount of goals we're scoring. Definitely not. And he's been poor this season for Tottenham as well, Harry Kane.
You could say that slightly. I mean, David says here, look how many first-team players we didn't have. You didn't have Rodri, but we didn't have Ndidi. Plus neither one of our first-team established centre-backs. No first-team right-back, no Barnes. We overperformed. We just haven't got a defence. Yeah, that is the truth of the matter. And when you get, your one defender that's just coming back has his legs broken against Liverpool, which I may have mentioned, then it doesn't help. Rich Sports from Man United. Good evening, Rich. How are you? Feeling better today? I don't know about you. I mean, you probably don't appreciate this, Charles, because you don't lose that often. But when we've been playing this season, if we lost like that every game, I can't, I could live with it because we put up a good show, we put up a fight. It's when we've sort of, lost to teams or drawn with teams and, we couldn't pass a ball between us that really gets my goat. But that performance yesterday, to say how we had so many first teams out, it reminded me of the Great Escape season before we won the Premier League, when we were fighting for every single game, but we just couldn't get the wins.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised where Leicester are because, as you said, because of the injuries, I'm well aware. I've looked at games and I've done previews and stuff, and I know all the problems with COVID and injuries that you had, and a couple of guys there are mentioning, we didn't have such and such. And I think with me and Charlie both agree. I thought we sort of got away slightly in the end of it, even though we should have put it to bed, and it was just a problem with City not putting it to bed rather than anything else. But I can't. I thought Leicester. I mean, obviously you're playing Liverpool. Hopefully you'll play like that against Liverpool and you might take something from them. But I think, as the guy said there, you're overperformed. That team yesterday, I thought was excellent from this. Even in the first half, they were still excellent, although we were happy with the 4-0. But I mean, considering the problems you've got, they were excellent. But as I say, I think City need to answer questions that we we did look a bit lax, and that's the problem from a City point, from a Manchester City point of view. But all credit to Leicester, as I said, they're in a false position. We know with the best team they've got, they'd still be top 6. They'd be going for that top 4 like they did. They've been unlucky or bottled it, whichever way you want to look at it. The last couple of seasons, that top 4 position, they've got some great players. I mean, they've got some great players there, and they thoroughly deserve it. And I think they'll certainly. I think I said in my little show that I'd expect them to finish top 6 at least, and hopefully push up and knock a couple of these big, the so-called big boys out of the top 4 or 5.
I mean, to be honest with you, I had Chelsea down to win it this season. I'm not going to lie, but you look unstoppable, and Liverpool threw it away a bit with the last game because they sort of drew with Tottenham. And the problem is, it's been such a funny season, Charlie. I mean, the way we've been playing, we should be miles off the sort of European places. I know go down to 7th now, but we're 22. We're only 5-6 points off 6th place. And I just think it's one of those seasons where anybody can beat anybody. Apart, let's say there's you and Liverpool that are sort of sticking out, if you like. But everybody else, it's just weird. It's just such a funny season.
It reminds me of the Championship a bit, that with how tight it is between mid-table and the top and the playoff spots it is in the Championship. So it's getting tighter between those. But I think the 3 of us, Liverpool and Chelsea, are a lot better than the rest of the teams in the league right now, to be honest.
I think so. And I think I don't want it to get like Scotland, but I have a little bit of a worry that it is. And from a neutral point of view, Charles, you're in there, and good luck to you. And I'm not bemoaning it. You've got the money and what have you. We've got money, more than a lot of other clubs. But it is good when other clubs, like you got West Ham this season. It's just nice to see these clubs come through and challenge at the top.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with this season, it's all this COVID, mate. It's all so many things affecting this season. And I mean, City, obviously, we had KDB down with it, and that still affects him to some extent, even amidst to it now. And it's months ago, it still affects his play now. He's still tired after a certain length of time. So these things are hanging over. So even though we get players back, yourself, you get players back from COVID, doesn't mean they'll be 100% for any time soon. And this is the sort of season it's going to be. It's going to be, perhaps, I don't want to say it's going to be one of those seasons with little asterisks against it, where obviously something like the COVID affected season, the season last year where it was empty stadiums. Yeah. I mean, they're all circumstances have changed, haven't they? But just on the thing of money, I mean, City have got money because we earn money, mate. We don't. It's not as though some guys giving us an extra little batch of wad. We actually earn it by winning things and doing things. This is the thing. So City have got money. United and Liverpool have got more money than we have, but unfortunately they've got owners who take it out. They don't put it back into the club, and that's where we succeed, because we actually put it back into building the team, paying wages, etc., etc. Other teams have got similar amounts of money, but they don't reinvest it the same that we do. So, I do accept what you're saying, but at the end of the day, we're under the same rules as everybody else, no matter what anyone says. And we've got money, but we're earning that money by winning things. That's the whole point. So
yes, you are, and I totally don't begrudge you the money at all. I mean, we've both been down there in the 3rd tier, and we've had those sort of days, and I remember when years. But you've obviously got to have the money at the start to build up, and you are rich. I mean, do you sort of begrudge Newcastle suddenly getting the money?
No, I mean, it's like, I think it's got to be difficult from those, isn't it? I mean, it's proving difficult. Yes. It doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day, you still don't forget as well, when City got their big input, when the guys come in and bought City, there was no such thing as FFP. It didn't even exist. It wasn't there. So we could have spent as much as we want, and we did. We spent loads of money, paid lots of wages to get players in, to make landmark signings and all this sort of thing. But within a couple of years, we had to fall in line with everyone. We had to start being careful, and we got into trouble. And obviously we've used accounting, and we obviously people accusing us of things. But at the end of the day, it's just like this: the state, a fair and reasonable amount for sponsorship and stuff like this. And it was never, I mean, City was always, they turned around and said, yeah, okay, it might be a few million over, but I mean, people say we're hundreds of millions on. It wasn't. It's all rubbish. We were getting amounts of money that were, once FFP come in, we had to be strict. They had to be strict to that. And some other teams like yourselves, Leicester, you can only spend you can only spend what you can earn. That's all you can do. Yes. And obviously Newcastle now, all right, it's not going to affect them, FFP, because they're nowhere near Europe, so that's not going to affect them. The Premier League FFP is a load of rubbish. That doesn't really count for anything. So, I mean, Newcastle, it's going to be a long road. They're not going to win a trophy within, I think it was 3 seasons we won the FA Cup, 4 seasons before we won the league.
Yeah.
There's not a cat in hell's chance Newcastle are going to do anything like that, because, Liverpool, Chelsea, United will come back. Of course they will at some stage. They're all there already. And they say you've got your Leicesters, you've got your West Hams, you've got these other, you've got your Arsenals, you've got your Tottenhams. Never even mentioned these guys. You know what I mean? So Newcastle, it's going to be a struggle. They need a plan. And that's the thing about City. We had a plan from day one. And our plan was ruined by FFP because that wasn't part of the plan when the guys come in and took over. But at least the Newcastle lot now know what it is. They know what FFP is and stuff like this. So at least, if they've got some clever people to do it, they'll be all right. But it's going to be a long haul for them. And for any other team who gets investment, if other teams got any further investment down the line, it's going to be hard now to break into that. And it's going to take a clever men to run the clubs and do the right things. And as you say, United are still struggling to do the right thing. This Rangnick guy, I mean, all right, he's there and he's going to be upstairs for a couple of years, isn't he? I don't understand the logic of any of that, but it's all down to who you've got in charge, I think, and running these clubs. And thankfully at City, we do have we have excellent owners. We have clever people doing things, and we're all very grateful as Manchester City fans. But hey, I was there in the third tier. I was there going around the country, and I'm wonderful. I'll never forget where we come from, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. But as I said, it is now money.
Charlie wasn't even a sparkle in his dad's eye when you were in the third tier.
Well, that's it. I mean, obviously, they were good days. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, most, all right, we'll lose a few. We'll say if City went back down to the second division, there'll still be 30,000-40,000 there, mate, and rattling around that ground. They'll still be there. In fact, we'll probably be better supported because loads of guys will start coming back who've just stopped going. To be honest with you, but
anyway,
sorry, mate, I'm babbling anyway.
News at 10. Charlie, you're still here.
Carry on.
No, that's fine. Charlie, I mean, I was watching the game and I was surprised. Inacho, especially, was obviously told to mark whichever City player he was, but he was all over them. And Tillemans, I've got to say, like I say, after the 3 penalties, they probably both were deserved, but Tillemans wasn't having the best he gave. But let's be honest with you, 5 minutes in, you 1-0 up, you just put your feet up, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, for the first 20-25 minutes, we just carried on. Every attack we were having, we basically scored. And then, like I said before, it just fell apart in the first 15-20 minutes of the second half.
I mean, 5, 14, 21, 25 minutes. I'm just sat there thinking, is this going to be a 9-0? I mean, the managers have come out. Certainly Rodgers has, and I think Pep has, but saying about there's too many games around the Christmas period. I mean, Charlie, would you accept that? I mean, the Boxing Day one is kind of tradition, but we've got to play. We had to play on Thursday against Liverpool in a quarter-final of a cup, which, to be honest with you, doesn't even get you a place in Europe now. And don't get me wrong, I want to win every cup that we're in, but it is the one that everybody says we don't mind losing if we had to. And of course, I know you like it because you won it for about 30 seasons. But then we had that on like the Thursday. We had the match on Boxing Day. We've got a match tomorrow. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Especially with all the COVID and everything.
Yeah, with especially with, of course, like you said, the Boxing Day tradition. There should always be games on Boxing Day, but playing tomorrow as well, a day break between two games is just ridiculous, to be honest.
It is. A question, we'll stick with you first of all, Charlie, then we'll go on to Charles. Andrew says here, how long, there's always rumours about him staying. He doesn't stay anywhere, sort of, is it over 5 years or something? But how long do you think Pep will stay with you?
I think maybe the end of next season or the season after next.
Yeah, I mean, his contract ends next season. I can't see him extending now. That'll be 7 years. He's never stayed that length of time. I think he needs to recharge, to be honest with you. I mean, the peak of what he manages at and what he asks of his players. And again, as I said, we're well run, so I'm fairly sure we have an idea of someone we've got lined up to take over from him. I'm fairly sure it's not going to be suddenly, oh, he's gone, what we're going to do, because that's not how the club's run. As I say, it's run professionally. All right, they make mistakes, of course they do. They're not perfect. None of us are. Look at this stupid European Super League. Of course they make mistakes. They need a bit of common sense speaking sometimes, but I can't see him extending again. So I think at the end of next season, that will be it. And obviously new players coming in will need to perhaps know that as well. So I think we have a plan in place. But some people think he might extend, but I don't think so.
Do you think he will extend if you've not won the Champions League? I mean, that's the one thing, in fairness.
No, he's won it. He's won it. It's just that
he has, yes.
He's just not let us win it. He just cocked us up for winning it. We should have won it the last 2 times, mate. We should have won it last year. We should have won it the year before we got beat by Leon. I mean, he's ruined it for us City fans. I mean, so we love Pep to bits, but I'm sorry, Pep. You sold us down the river a couple of times. We could have had that monkey off our back or the elephant off our back, or the elephant in the room could have disappeared. But obviously, but I don't think that'll bother him. I'll be honest with you. He certainly won't. He won't worry about staying until that's won. He'll deal well anyway. He said it's in his CV anyway. He's not going to worry the facts, and it wouldn't surprise me if we win it under another manager. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Go on then. If he goes, both of you, who would you want? And you can't say Brendan Rodgers, but I know in fairness you wouldn't.
Well, it's been mentioned, hasn't it? I mean, obviously people are going about in the Spanish manager, aren't they? And Enrique's the sort of number one sort of look. But I think they might have something planned. I mean, some of the guys like Vieira and company, perhaps way down the line if they prove themselves a bit more than they have done already, but they're not ready for that role yet. They're not ready for taking over. Let's face it, one of the top 6 clubs in the world, and that's what City are at the moment, as far as everything, as far as on the pitch and off the pitch, if you like. So they're not ready for it yet. So that Enrique's been mentioned, but I think they have an idea. I think they've got an idea. I think Pep will have a big say in it as well. And it might be someone we don't particularly know at the moment who might come in and do it. You know what I mean? Well, but I'd like him to be there with Pep for a seat. We've got Arteta as well. Arteta seems to be turning things around at Arsenal. Yeah. Pep would love Arteta to come back. Yeah. I mean, 6 months ago,
Sam Allardyce there.
Sam was his assistant, but Arteta, I mean, 6 months ago, I would have said to you, forget it. But, there are little signs there. Looks as though he's a good man manager now. He's, what he says goals and things like this. So that's what you want to see in a manager. So, hey, you never know. Arteta could be Arsenal will be a bit angry, but if he doesn't,
I think half their fans would pay
for
taxi
this is the trouble with them, isn't it? Half of them like him and half of them can't stand him, and that's just
Charlie, would you take Arteta?
I think you have to give him time, to be honest. Maybe if he gets Arsenal in the top 4 this season, that's good, but it has to be over a longer period for me. You just can't have one good season and then bang you straight into a bigger job, because it just don't work like that.
Yeah. I mean, Charlie, I've got to ask you, I mean, you've beaten us twice this season now. Does this make up for you sort of losing the English Super Cup to us?
The English Super Cup, that's a good name for it, isn't it? Yeah, I never thought
no, it is. And Charlie knows this. Charlie knows this, don't you? I mean, I'm sorry, you go to Spain and the winners of the league and the winners of the cup, it's the Spanish Super Cup. So
it's not the first time you won it. I remember I was doing a history thing the other day. You just beat Liverpool in the Charity Shield. I was doing my history vlog on Leicester and City, and obviously that came as a season, obviously where they just won that. So I mean, it is what it is. It's just more expensive going down to London. And we've got a bit. I know it's horrible to say, but it's become a bit of a routine now going down to London. So it was nice to perhaps think. Oh, then again, we'll probably be. We might be in it again next year. But
Charlie, have you got over it yet?
I was gutted. I'm more gutted about losing the English Super Cup than the Champions League final.
That I can understand totally. I can understand it totally. But who is your sort of, first of all, for Manchester? We'll stick with you first, Charlie. Who was your player of the match?
For me, it has to be KDB. He was running the show in that first half, especially. He went off the pace a bit in the second half, but the first half, he was one of the best players on the pitch.
Would you agree with that, Charles?
No, I had Raheem Sterling down, to be honest with you, just because of the way he totally tore into poor Albrighton. I didn't know which way to turn, did he, the poor lad?
In fairness, Albrighton, that's not his natural position.
That's what I thought they would have doubled up on him, to be honest with you. I don't know what your tactics are at the back there, but I thought, well, obviously he was getting ripped apart from the first minute. As a tactic, stick sort of double up on him. But as I said, he did have an easy game because, as you said, Albrighton that's not his position anyway. So I'd have to give it Sterling, even, and thankfully he's hit a little bit of form at the right time, which is great, because a couple of other players are struggling just a little bit at the moment. So yeah, I would give it Sterling, but it's nice to see him at least looking a bit happy, and a great penalty as well, which I was quite happy about. Is we can suddenly score penalties. That's quite an achievement for us, to be honest with you.
Don't mention penalties after Liverpool. You're just sticking the knife in, aren't you? Charlie, on the Leicester side of things, who impressed you, if anybody?
Maddison, I think, was very good. Iheanacho as well. He was getting himself about. So I'd probably say Maddison, to be honest, for me. Scored the first goal. I think he assisted Lookman's goal as well. So Maddison for me.
He is coming back onto form. There's no doubt about that. And Charles, Maddison for you or anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, the front three, I mean, was it obviously the Lookman, was it? And Iheanacho, of course, is always capable, is he? But I just want to go back. I think one of you guys mentioned very early doors about Schmeichel not quite doing it and he should be dropped and all this sort of thing. I think one of you guys early on said that. I thought he made an okay save, but I thought Schmeichel, compared to what he usually is, his distribution's rubbish. I've always thought it was, but he didn't. For me, I thought that's the worst I've seen him play against City. Not that, I can say, oh, yes, that was definitely his fault, but I just didn't think he looked quite at it yesterday to what he usually is. But he's probably shocked. He was just shell-shocked in that first 15, 20 minutes. I don't blame him, to be honest with you.
I think with Kasper, with Kasper, his distribution has always been awful. You kind of expect that. And it's been a funny season because people have been getting on his back a lot because when he's got the ball, he's throwing it out to either Shoenshu or Evans or, whichever defender's near him. And we're trying to build out from the back, which 7 times out of 10, we lose the ball and it's in our own half from our view, rather than just kicking it upfield. But if he does that, it normally goes out. But he's doing, obviously, what he's being told to do. But I think a goalkeeper, to some point, is only as good as the defenders that are in front of him. No matter how good your goalkeeper is, if we combine Banks, Shilton, and Kasper all into one person behind the defence that we've had this season with the injuries, they can only stop so much, And
I mean, if you let 4 goals in 25 minutes, it's not going to do your confidence any good, mate, is it? As a defence, as a goalkeeper. But as I say, he did look a little bit out of sorts yesterday. But I'm sure he livened up, and then obviously to 4-3, and then obviously, unfortunately, I don't think he had much chance with the last 2 goals either. So I mean, it's just one of those things.
I mean, that back four, you've got Thomas, he's a left back. Vestergaard, who's 6'6", full of absolute £50 million waste of money. You've got Daniel Amarty, and I never thought I'd say this. He's gone from villain to hero in the space of 1 season. He's having a great season, but and then you've got Albrighton. So you haven't got Ndidi in the team, so you haven't got a lot of defensive Power sat in front of Schmeichel. So I do feel sorry for the guy. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry. He's without him, we'd probably letting 2 or 3 more goals in. So a quick hello here to Ankit. How the devil are you, sir? I popped in earlier and had a look at your quiz. I wasn't doing very good, so I left. And David says, Chris, I read an article. Casper was complaining that the issue is the ball they're using in the Premier League. He said most other players agreed they use a different. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I mean, I can't. I saw the headline on that one, but if you're complaining about a ball, I think
might be the length of the grass as well. That might be a problem. Certain other people have problems with that.
Yeah. I don't think Schmeichel can come out and blame his defence, but you get time to practice with the ball before games. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, but so who've you got up next, guys?
Brentford away.
Oh, come on. Do you want the title now?
Well, we've got Arsenal away after that, so that'll be an interesting one.
And then we got Swindon in the cup.
Swindon in the cup and Chelsea at home. So we got Arsenal and Chelsea coming up. So we'll see how that pans out.
I mean, just to say is when you're can't see sort of when you lose your next game. That Arsenal one. I mean, they're 4th. They put 5 past Watford. They've not lost in the last 4, and people are still complaining about the manager. We're fickle as football fans, aren't we? Charlie knows I do a thing called Daddy Chips. So Charlie has already done this. So you can either stay, Charlie, and see how Charles does, or you can leave, whichever you prefer to do.
I'll stay.
Okay. First of all, last question before I get on to that, though. Both teams. What are they going to achieve this season? Charlie, with you first of all, you're going to win it, aren't you?
Well, I hope so. I'd be very disappointed if we don't now, and I hope we can get that Champions League, but I don't know, to be honest. It's all about luck of the draw, really, in the Champions League, and it's basically a cup competition now, isn't it? Yeah. Into the knockout stage.
And Charles.
Yeah, I think Leicester have got to aim for top 6 again, haven't they, and try and get in that top 4. Yeah. It's not going to be an easy battle for them, is it? But they start getting some players back. That's the main thing Leicester need to do. Obviously, it's got to happen at some stage. You can't carry on all season. It's got to come round. As far as City,
you keep saying that every time we get a good result, we go, "We're going to kick on from here." We never do. But
I mean, based on what we saw yesterday, I would be quite happy with that. And say with the guys who were on the pitch yesterday, as well as the guys to come back, it should be okay. As far as City are concerned, to be honest with you, we're not quite used to being top at Christmas. To be honest with you, we're used to chasing. We're used to being sat on the shoulders, and it makes me a little bit uncomfortable. But at this point, all I want us to do is keep grinding out those results, and we've got a port. In fact, you laugh about Brentford, but they've actually got a better win record against us than any other team. We've not played them that often, but they've got.
I'm going to say you must have played them in the third tier or something.
Yeah, I mean, we have played it. They actually beat us as champions back in 1937-38. We actually went there. We got relegated the season after we won the league.
That's even before my time, and that's saying something.
Typical, before mine as well. But and they beat us. They got previous to beat us as champions, So and they've done very well against champions as well, apparently in the past. So. Yeah, all the omens are great, but as you say, we should be all right. But they do have a good record against us. That's the only thing that worries me. But I just want to keep winning, mate. I just want to keep winning, mate. Now I just want to beat Brentford, and then I think Arsenal will be an interesting one. If we can go to Arsenal, get an okay win there, I'll be pretty confident, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Charlie. Quick question with you. An extra one just before Daddy Chips. Grealish, it's not bad having £1 billion player sat on the bench, is it? Is he? Has he not been forgiven yet? Notice Foden came on, but still no place for Grealish.
I don't know, to be honest. It's just Pep for you, really, isn't it? He'll happily bench £100 million player because of his behaviour off the pitch. So I don't know, really. I think he could feature in the Brentford game, but I don't think he'll start, and maybe he could get the start at at the Emirates, and then after the 3rd of January, because Mahrez goes for the AFCON, maybe he'll find his starting place again in the team.
Yeah, it'll all change for all of us in January, won't it? Well, Charles, I hope you. It's only a bit of fun. This, it's okay. It's not. We're not going to test your knowledge. Although I'm pretty sure if we did a quiz, you'd probably be top. But this is Daddy Chips. Now, for the younger ones, I've always got to explain what Daddy Chips is, because it's as my kids say, it's an old person saying, is it? It's where it's a difficult choice between do you want your daddy or do you want a plate of chips when you say to a kid? And most of them would probably go for a plate of chips, to be honest with you. So it's just a case of picking out, and after the same questions, Charlie, so you'll remember the questions. You just got to pick who you would sooner or who you would prefer, sort of thing. So just 5 quick questions. So the first one is national. I presume you're an England supporter, are you?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I'm not as obviously I'm not as interested in international football, but I hope we do well, and I'm watching the big games. Yeah,
anything like that.
Yeah.
So England, who would you sooner England lose to, Scotland or Germany?
That's a good one, isn't it? Possibly Germany.
I think we all went for that. We're sorry, Scott. If there's any Scots watching, we hate you. I always said, you want your independence, you go. We'll build it. We will build Hadrian's Wall, and you can just stop up there. A lot of you, we argue.
All they have to do is do a referendum and include us in it, and they would have got the freedom a couple of years ago. They'd let us vote as well.
That is true. Number 2, managers. If you could have one of these managers back, Roberto Mancini or Manuel Pellegrini?
Oh, Mancini.
You agreeing so far with Charlie. Players, and with one we've just mentioned, actually. First name on the sheet: Jack Grealish, Riyad Mahrez. Who would you have in your team?
Grealish.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, different to you, Charlie. You went Mahrez.
Potential, but that's the difference. Potential, I'd go for Grealish, but obviously, I wouldn't disagree with Charlie's point of view there.
Yeah, you're gone for Grealish. You're stuck with him now.
Oh, I'll stay with him.
Who are you?
Even use top player, mate.
That's true. That's true. If you had to lose an FA Cup final, would you sooner lose it to Liverpool or Manchester United?
Liverpool.
Yeah. And finally, would you sooner finish second in the Premier League or be runners-up in the Champions League final?
Neither.
I know, but that's the thing.
Second in the Premier League. I don't want to be runners-up again in the Champions League.
I think you both agreed on that one. Guys, it's been fun having you on, even if the game wasn't. But for 20 minutes, we were believers. For 20 minutes, we were believing in the second coming.
Take what you can. Take what you can when you can.
Oh, this is it. At least we went down fighting. Andrew says definitely Mahrez there. Charlie, first of all, thanks for coming on. Have a great New Year, mate. Hope you had a good Christmas. And just give another quick shout out to your channels. They are in the description below, but just give them out a shout out again.
Yeah, just at MCFC Hibs on Twitter and Dugout Daily on YouTube. Me, Chris, and Bernard will all be live tomorrow at the same time for a match reaction over there. Yeah.
Reliving it again. They're putting me through it again. How bad is that? Oh dear. Anyway, Charlie, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks very much.
Mate. Take care, lads.
Bye bye. Oh, so I've got to go through it all a second time. How bad is it? Charles, again, you know your stuff. I've retweeted a couple of your things about the History Boys. Really, really good. It's well worth a check out. How can people find you again?
Yeah, if you obviously on Twitter, my YouTube channel's called the Citizen channel, spelt the old way, not with a Y like the new way. But obviously, the name Deneen's very synonymous. If you put DINNE in any of your search engines, all my stuff will come up because there's not many of me about. There's not many of my name about. So
believe it or not, I used to go to school with somebody called Carl Deneen.
It might have been one end though. It's the two ends that gets everyone. There's not many two ends. There's DINNEN. Very, very rare. There's only a couple on Google. You put them in Google. There's only two of us that I can see in the world. Well, one's in America and me. That's it.
Yeah,
so
is it? I can't remember that far back as to how many ends there were.
Yeah, so follow me on Twitter at Bernard Deneen at Charles Deneen. And I do movie and TV stuff as well. So if any of you like movies and TV, I do reviews on TV and drama and what's out to buy and what's at the pictures and all this sort of thing. So I'm a busy lad. So if you like that as well.
Thanks so much for coming on, mate.
Cheers, mate.
And
Thanks
nice
a
to
lot,
finally meet you. And I'll see you in 24 hours' time.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, thanks as well to Charles there, to nice, and I'd say nice Man City fans. Andrew says, was that a Blondie song? Oh, you got me going through the Blondie songs now, Andy. Sunday Girl, Union City Blue, Deneen. No, it was Deneen, not Deneen, you silly sausage. That's being polite because YouTube banned me if I swear. I'm sure that's what they're doing. Please remember, this is what you need to do.
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform. Or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Yeah, please subscribe, Leicester Till I Die TV. It all helps, and please smash that like button as well.
Hi, this is Chris from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for watching and listening. Happy New Year.
Oh, can you believe? Where has this past year gone? You know something? It's not been a bad year, has it, really? 5th place finish, Europe for the 2nd season, FA Cup win, English Super Cup win. Yeah, in the big scheme of things, not a bad year at all. I'll be back at 7 o'clock when we'll be doing this, but with a Leicester fan, so it might be a little bit more biased. I might not have to be as nice about Manchester City. Might be a bit more honest. I'll see you at 7 when it's me and Brad with the post-match show. See you later.
That's all, folks. Some people are on the pitch, they think it's all over. It is now.